Okay guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to put some valve shims into the engine just to continue before I put the cams in. Now in this for this engine upgrade, I'll be putting ZZR 1200 cams into it. And in replacement for the stock ZRX 1200 cams. Now, they are the same valve shim clearance as for the ZZR 1200 cams as the are for the ZRX one, and I have a chart here in the manual to show what both the exhaust valve clearances are and the inlet valve clearances are. And here you can see I have quite a selection in my stock of many different varying sizes of valve shims. And here is a very crude chart that I made when I was dismantling the engine of the size of the shims that I took out of it. These are the exhaust ones. These are the inlet ones. These here represent the valves, of 1, 2, 3, and 4, etc. So I took out, and I made a little note of the sizes of the shims that I took out whenever I was dismantling dismantling the engine or breaking down the head for to clean it up and do the valves and all that business. So I mean, these sizes here of the shims that I took out may well change now that I have redone the head and lapped in the valves. They may change slightly, they may not. But anyway, I'm going to, put the cams or anything in, I am going to put the shims, the size of the shims back in that I took out. And then whenever we've got the cams in, and I'll check the size of the valve clearances compared to what they were whenever I dismantled it, and see if they need changed in any way. So as I say, here's a selection of shims here that I have, and I mean, it's much easier to do the shims and the valve clearances and everything now the engine is out of the bike and you can get access and room and all to it. And there's a 2.6 millimeter shim, which is the first one I'm going to put in anyway. And there's many ways of fitting those and putting them in. Here's a little typical little telescoping magnet tool that you can buy from lots of different places, just to pick the shim up like that and then place it in the position. And you can do that easily while the the engine's out and you've plenty of access to it. But it's, you can pick it up to take it out, to take it out of the of its seating position underneath the rocker. But it's not so easy putting it back in with this tool, because when you put it in, you've got to have a screwdriver and put it on the end in order to try and take that away, and it kind of wants to sort of continue to stick to the magnet, and you can't really sort of get it released easily, and there's always the danger that it would sort of come out with you and you could drop it, etc., down in, especially whenever the engine's in place. I have these two other tools. They were made by a guy on the ZRX OA Owners Association forum in America, and he made these for the members on that forum. And there's like this this plastic or this nylon type one, and you'll notice there's a little kind of a position there on that one, and also it has a magnet at the end. Let's see if we can get that to focus. Now that magnet's really handy for actually picking up the shim to remove it, like that. But in replacing the shim, the other end has a weaker magnet, and it's much more effective in placing the shim, because you can, you can do that with it, right? And it'll stay in place perfectly in its little seated position. And then you can just simply put it in, and then just withdraw it, and it'll come away very, very easily. So I've got that one. The brass one was just an even more limited edition one, and he made a series of these too. It just functions exactly the same way. But anyway, look, I'll fit a few of these here and let you see what the situation is. Okay, so as I say, we're going to fit these here now that the engine's out and there's no cams or anything in. Normally if the engine was in, you'd have your frame coming down here, you'd have your cams in, you'd have a load of paraphernalia and stuff there, and you'd have limited room, and you're trying to get them in, and I mean, you're always worried in case one drops down into that well there for the cam chain, etc. But anyway, look, you're looking at the engine, and this is forward here, and these are your rockers. If you had your cams here, you'd have to actually slide this to the, you'd have to slide this to one side like this, to try and sort of get access to it. And it's you can do it. I mean, it's fine. You have to do it whenever the engine's in the bike. But I just want to do it here while the engine's not in the bike and I'm in the process of building the engine. So it just makes it so much easier. So all you really got are these are the rockers here, and you can simply just do that. That exposes the position there where the shims have to be. And according to that chart there, like I just showed you, now we're looking at it upside down, so that one there is number 1, and so we're going to be putting a 2.6 millimeter shim in here, and we're going to say we're going to use this tool here like I was showing you. You just simply, there it is in it, you just simply place it there into the into its position and just do that. There it is. How easy is that? And then you just there. I mean, couldn't be any easier. Okay. All right. So the next one here beside it that I'm putting in, according to that, is a 2.7. Now, I forgot to mention, it's always a good idea to just, although they're labeled and everything on the the packaging and everything, it's always a good idea just to sort of check, just to make sure. But anyway, look, 2.7. It's really hard to see that there. Yeah, 2.7. There it is. So we'll just put that in. Where's that little tool again? Here it is. Like I was just showing you. There it is in the recess. You see that? Like if you were taking it back, if you were taking these back out, you just, I'll put it in first and let you see. There it is. Just goes in there like that. Couldn't be any easier. That's it. And just there. Okay. So if you were taking it, obviously, if you were taking it out, you just pull that like that, do that there, that's it removed. All right, so I'll just show you that one more time. I've got all the exhaust ones already in. There, you can see them. There, already in. Of two of the inlet ones in. I'll just put this one in here one more time to let you see. It just goes in there like that. There it is, fully seated. That there. Couldn't be easier. All right, guys. Okay, so here are the cams here. And these first two here are ZZR 1200 cams. And these two here are ZRX 1200 cams. Now they look exactly the same by the naked eye, but there is a difference, and I'll show you it here. The lobes, first of all, well, the lobes are a different profile, but the lobes are also a higher profile, like a taller profile on the ZZR ones than they are on the ZRX ones. Okay, so I'll just measure the height of the lobes on one. I'll pick the let me see, what's this one here? This is the inlet cam. Set that to the side just to get a wee sort of a bit of room. Just make sure that that is zeroed. It is. So let me see, just get myself a bit of room here. The highest point on that is about 36.9. Okay, so let's just do likewise with the inlet cam of the ZRX one. And I'll just definitely make sure that that is right. We'll go for the same lobe, and we'll try and see if we can get a measurement here. Yeah, that's a good bit smaller, isn't it? About 36.21 was about it, wasn't it? So there's another couple of little things I just want to point out before we go ahead and install these cams. And that is, well, I want to compare the profile of the lobes from the and compare it ZR 1200 ones with the ZRX 1200 ones. So I'll do them both anyway, but this one is the intake cam of the ZZR, and this one is the intake cam of the ZRX 1200. Now, hopefully this will focus okay, and we can get a direct comparison, side by side comparison. Do you see the difference there? We've already established that this ZZR one is a little bit taller, but also you can see clearly there that the profile is completely different there on the ZZR 1200 one than it is on the ZRX 1200 one. All right, those are the intake cams. Let's do the exhaust ones. That's the that's the ZRX 1200 one. This is ZZR 1200 one. Again, same thing. You can see that the profile there is different from the profile there. You see that okay? All right. The other thing is that I wanted to say too was So this is the exhaust cam. The exhaust cam, they all use the same gearing, no matter whether it's ZRX or ZZR, and they all use the same gearing, no matter whether it's the same gear sprockets, no matter whether it's the exhaust cam or the intake cam. All the sprockets are the same. However, you'll see here on this exhaust cam, you've got square recessed holes and you've got round recessed holes. The exhaust cam uses the round recessed holes to bolt on, and let me see this one here. This is the intake cam. You can see there, compared to it, side by side, that it's using the square holes. Okay, so the exhaust one is the round holes, and the intake one uses the square holes. And the last thing I want to say before I go ahead and fit them is, and I wish it wasn't the case, but it's very difficult nowadays to get a set of ZZR 1200 cams. I'll put them here where you can see them. Hard to get. Well, it's not impossible, but it's pretty difficult to get a pair of ZZR 1200 cams that are perfect, because you know, they are prone, the top of the lobes are prone to have a little bit of pitting on them, and the intake one is invariably more susceptible to pitting than the exhaust one. I think it's something to do with the way the oil is distributed on the lobes. But either way, you can't buy a brand new factory Kawasaki ZZR 1200 intake cam. They're out of production, no longer available. I'm not sure about the exhaust one. I checked a while back and the exhaust one was still available, but it could well be out of production now too. And but certainly the intake one's out of production. And you're always going to get that tiny little bit of pitting there on the lobe, because, you know, I mean, you're going to be buying a bike, obviously, that has some miles on it and has had a bit of use. And I mean, the bike that these came out of, the engine these came out of, I think it had 30,000 miles, and 30,000 miles isn't an awful lot of miles. Of course, it depends on how it's been maintained, etc. But still, 30,000 miles, they still have a little bit of pitting on them. The ZRX ones don't have any pitting on them. So, I mean, this is typical of the type of pitting that I'm talking about. You see that wee tiny bit of pitting there. There's another wee one there on that lobe. And none on those lobes. None on, well, a tiny one there on that lobe, and a couple on those two lobes there at the end. That's the intake cam. The exhaust cam, as you can see, there's no pitting there. There's pitting there on that one lobe, and there's no pitting there. And there's no, is that any pitting? If it is, it's, can't even feel it. But anyway, as I say, the exhaust one is prone to less pitting than the intake one. The ZRX ones usually don't have any pitting on them. But in any case, that's not the ones we're going to be using. So there you are. That's just a number of different wee things there I wanted to cover before we put them in. Now, you know, I mean, obviously you can buy Yoshimura ST1 cams, and I have a set of those also for another engine build that I'm going to do at some point. But it's popular mod to put modification to put ZZR 1200 cams into your ZZR 1200 or ZRX 1200 engine, and this is what we're going to be doing. And I was just pointing out that you know, I mean, if you get, and you don't really, you're not really going to know if you buy the whole engine. The person you're buying it off isn't really going to take the cam cover off and let you examine it before you buy them, because you're usually going to be buying this sort of stuff off eBay or something, you know. But anyway, it's just something that to sort of make you aware of. Now, if they were too bad, obviously you wouldn't. You'd have to get them welded, reground, etc. You know. But I mean, that's what you would typically find on a set of ZRX or ZZR 1200 cams that have round about the 30,000 mile mark on them. All right, so I think it's time to get these things fitted. All right. Okay, so we've got some parts laid out here, ready to fit, and obviously the first thing you're going to need here, essential, are these cam caps. Now they're all numbered, and they are bagged up and kept separate from other cam caps that I would have removed from the ZZR 1200 head. You can't I mean, these are applicable only to the head that you have. You can't use cam caps from another ZRX 1200 head or from a ZZR 1200 head or any other one, because they have been line bored from the factory with the head that you have. So those are specific to your cylinder head, cam cap bolts, and the cam cap dowels. We've also got, well, I've got two different. There's the stock ignition advancer or ignition plate, and there's a 4-degree advancer one from CCDF. Expensive lightweight stuff also does one. Well, they do 2 or 3 actually. They do a 4-degree one and a 2-degree one. They do a honeycomb cutaway one, etc. But I'm going to be, I mean, I had that one there in the bike whenever I was running the stock cams, and I could put it back in. But I'm just going to run the stock ZRX 1200 plate. And the first thing is you do, and of course you need the, you need the spacer and the nut. But I'm going to be putting that in just to bring the pistons 1 and 4 up to top dead center before these cams are installed. All right. So I know I need a bottom cam chain guide on. It goes on there, but before you put the plate on. But we'll not be worrying about that just yet, because I'm only putting this plate on temporary to bring the pistons 1 and 4 up to top dead center. So let me see. Just make sure that that's on like that, right? And you're putting that on there like that. Okay. And then you're putting the spacer on here. There's a wee notch in it there, as you can see. And that wee notch goes over that wee roll pin. Now that screw there would be red thread locked, or even blue thread locked in, to hold it in place whenever you're finished. But for the purposes of this here, I'm just going to be nipping it up, because I'm only just going to be turning this around to top dead center for 1 and 4. And top dead center for 1 and 4 is that this tick here lines up with that little tick there, that wee mark. I've highlighted it with a yellow indicator there. Let's see if I can bring the light round. You can see it better. You see that better? It's usually black, you know, but I just put a wee line on it there, but so that you can see it clearer, and that lines up with that, and that means pistons 1 and 4 are up the top dead center. All right, let's do that. Just keep the chain up and bring that round there. That's it. All right. Okay. So that's that. Now we'll put the exhaust cam in first. Okay. Okay, so you're laying out your cams here. This is the intake cam here. Intake cam. And this is the exhaust one here. You're laying them out there that, you know, in a position that, you know, the further away, the furthest most away lobes are pointing away from one another, like the way they are. And you'll see there that on these, it's kind to me, these two, because they've got a little paint mark there and there. And on that paint mark, you'll see there's a little tick there. Now that tick, that wee mark there, has to go level with the top of the cylinder head. On the when it's in the when the cam is put into the in the head. All right, so let's just do that now. Oh, and before we do anything, we want to lubricate. You know, we want to lubricate the area here where the cams are going to be. We also want to lubricate the rockers and the shims, etc., like that. And I'm using this Permatex Ultra Slick, and I'll be using that for where the rockers are, but then I'll be using a mixture of just engine oil, 10 parts engine oil to 1 part of the Permatex. It's a thinner, much thinner application, you know. So we'll be putting that there, all along there, and also the same on where the you know, the cams are as well. And for the rockers and the shims, you know, I'll be putting just the neat Permatex. So it'll be going on there like that. It's thicker. It's more like a honey kind of consistency or such, like, you know, stickier. All right.